Welcome to the Contrarians, where we are right and you are wrong. I'm Julio.
And I'm Alex. Here on the show, we rage against the Rotten Tomatoes machine. For the first half of each episode, Contrarians Corner, we trash the fresh red tomatoes and praise the rotten green splotches, making our case any way we can.
The aptly titled Real Talk serves as the second half of each episode. This is where we discuss our true feelings on the movie we're covering. For more information on our podcast and to browse past episodes, you can head over to our website, wearethecontrarians.com.
From there, you can also access our Patreon and merchandise, because capitalism.
If you enjoy our attempts at comedic film discussions, we encourage you to subscribe and leave us a review on whatever podcatcher you use.
If you'd like to reach out to us directly, that's what social media is for. You can find us on most platforms as @ContrarianPrime.
You can also see what we look like if you go to youtube.com/@ContrarianPrime, and you can contact us by email at wearethecontrarians@gmail.com.
I think that covers it.
Then it's time for the podcast. And we are recording for Contrarians Corner for Silent Running.
Hello, and welcome to the Contrarians, where we're right and you're wrong. My name is Alex, joined as always by my comrade, my co-pilot, the never-ending journey of the contrary. I guess the Dewey to my Huey, in this case.
Such a tragic story.
It is. The drones are so cute. They're the highlight of this movie, Julio. Adorable even. But yes, we're here today to discuss Silent Running, a 1972 ecological-themed science fiction film. The directorial debut of Douglas Trumbull, and starring Academy Award nominee Bruce Dern. Nebraska himself.
Laura Dern's dad.
I think I did the math. He would have been 35 or so making this movie. Already looking 56 or so. Just a born old man, you know?
Huey. Dewey. I want you two guys to report right away to the recreation room.
It's insane how he looks radically different, but also very much the same.
Oh, you can't mistake that voice or like some of the facial cadence when he gets into his soliloquy.
So is this like you look at Bruce Dern and do you think Nebraska? Because we always bring up Nebraska. Or do you think you haven't seen A Hateful Eight? So do you think Once Upon a Time in Mexico? What do you think of when you think Bruce Dern?
I mean, I told you I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood the other day. So currently I think of George Spahn from Spahn Ranch, but oh man, he's been in so much. But honestly, Nebraska is already, it's not even 15 years old, but it's an iconic performance. So that's honestly, I see the black and white, I see the contest winner hat, or prize winner, whatever it says. So that's what comes to mind. He definitely doesn't have the luscious brown locks here that we would come to know him to have.
Can you imagine that there are people, older people than us, that think when you say Bruce Dern, they think Silent Running?
I mean, probably. Makes sense.
It's wild, though. When they think Bruce Dern, they think science fiction hero instead of old man wandering around.
Or The Burbs.
He's just so young here. And not just him. There's one other cast member that I recognize. I'm like, wow, this person looks completely different when they're young.
Which drone is it?
Yeah, R2-D2 looks so young in his cinematic debut. No, do you know Ron Rifkin?
One of the fellas looked familiar in this. I don't know if I actually looked up any of the players involved. Ron Rifkin.
Yes. The asshole.
Yes.
I mean, he's a that guy.
He is definitely a that guy, yeah.
Yeah, most people would know him from, he was one of the bad guys in Alias, the TV show with Jennifer Garner.
Mm-hmm.
He was kind of like the evil mastermind through the entire series. And then I guess film buffs would know him from LA Confidential. He has kind of an important part in that movie. I think Russell Crowe grabs him by the legs and like has him hanging from a window. But that's when I think Ron Rifkin, Bruce Dern, I think Nebraska. Ron Rifkin, I think Alias and LA Confidential. And he's old in those movies. I mean, compared to what he looks like here in Silent Running, where he's he has black hair and no wrinkles, and he's way douchier in the 70s than he would be later in 2000s. Oh, you know what, Alex? He might have been in that movie that we did, the Christopher Plummer, Sam Jackson, The Negotiator.
Let's see here. I remember. I'm trying to remember where putting his face to it. Yeah, he was in The Negotiator. He was Commander Grant Frost. He had a role, not like a big one. He might have just been one episode, but I do remember he was Carrie's editor on one episode of Sex and the City, at least. So,
does he hook up with anyone?
Not that I recall. I remember he's like a huge dick. But yeah, it goes back to the never-ending menagerie of folks that had a layover on the Sex and the City television show.
I'm disappointed that there's no Ron Rifkin sex scene on HBO Max.
It's cut.
It's just HBO now.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I stopped counting, Alex. Bruce Dern, Ron Rifkin, and then
there's only two other actors.
Yes, but I don't know them. I mean, I guess they look familiar in that sense of when you watch a movie from the 70s, the hairdos and just the overall way that people carry themselves. It's like that looks like something I've seen before, but this was just I have very little to grab onto, especially once it becomes a Bruce Dern show.
Yes, and also to be fair, things to grab onto, some of the reviews you will find of this movie, Julio, think it's just kind of hippie tripe of Save the Planet, and that is, unfortunately for you and I in our generation, a concept long gone and not one with really any hope to it.
There's no saving the planet.
There is no saving the planet. And also, I mean, Vietnam was still going on. So I think that adds a little bit to the, obviously Bruce Dern's character in this, what's his name? Lowell, is the isolation gets to him, and and he eventually, spoiler, he eventually snaps in the end. So there are elements to this that I think for the time you and I can't really relate to or grasp, as you said. And when we watch them now in 2026, it's just kind of like, yeah, nice try, but planet's not going to be saved. Actually, it's a better, more idyllic movie here to say that Earth is inhabitable, but everywhere it's 75 degrees. That sounds okay to me. That's like perfect weather. But we're not able to grow anything. Well, there's still McDonald's, right? We can raise cows and we can just feed them cheeseburgers, and so they will taste better in the end.
One of the guys that's not Ron Rifkin describes what it's kind of a utopia. Everybody has a job. There's no poverty. Like, all right, where do I sign up?
Universal health care, you goddamn hippie.
Yeah.
So anyway, many interesting themes here that certainly you can see someone, standing outside the, getting their picture taken by the poster of this, making the peace sign with the tie-dye shirt on, smoking a joint, something.
Long hair.
Yeah, and people driving by with the Johnny Unitas haircut, hippies, and, throwing trash out their window at them.
The John Lennon glasses.
Oh, yeah. Classic. We discussed this on the last episode of which patron put this on the table for us. And for longtime listeners, I don't think there'd be too much of a surprise as the true wild card of our patrons here.
Yes. Ryan from Spit and Polish and the Yum Yum Pod, he's a wild card. There's always that sense of he could be trolling us with a movie that he expects us to hate, such as when he gave us Hancock, or he could be giving us what he considers a hidden gem that we just, obviously is completely off our radar. And so he's just sharing something that he loves, like when he gave us Confessions.
Did you look at his Letterboxd review of this?
I did.
Yeah. So this is another Ryan. He definitely loves it. I think he more just enjoys throwing these random ass movies he enjoys than he does punishing us like some of our other patrons, which not complaining either way. That's what it's there for.
Yes, but I think there's a third type of Ryan pick, which is the educational pick. Yeah. Like, not the hidden gem, but this is more like, Silent Running is kind of a sci-fi classic that film buffs are aware of, and I don't think it's on your radars. So I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to have you watch it, and it's relevant because it's relevant to our history with him. Because if you look at what's this guy's name, Douglas Trumbull. Mm-hmm. I want to say he came up when we did the Star Trek motion picture episode with him and Rachel.
Sounds right.
Because I think he did the special effects for that. And I think Ryan brought him up as in like, oh, this is a legendary special effects dude that he's worked on so many things. 2001.
Yeah, that's right. That's Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Yeah, maybe it came up in the Blade Runner episode. But
The,
one of those.
the same guy that worked on 2001 did this movie? You're kidding me.
Here's the difference, Alex. There's no Stanley Kubrick running the show in Silent Running.
There's not. He also did effects for The Tree of Life, so he's in your good graces.
Oh, well, I mean, most of film Twitters, this is not film Twitter anymore, whatever you call him now. Yeah, he's with the film buffs, for sure. More so, I think, as a special effects guy than as a director, because I think this movie proves that you can be a great special effects guy, and that doesn't necessarily translate to you being a great director. Sometimes it works, you know. I think the guy that did Deadpool was originally like a stunt coordinator. He was like the stunt guy, and then he decided to direct, and he made a movie that was very much about the stunts. Or maybe that's the John Wick guy. I don't know. One of those franchises that's hit it big. It was a stunt coordinator that became a director. So it could have happened to Trumbull, but I don't know, man. I don't think there's a reason why we didn't get Silent Running 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it's not just because Bruce Dern doesn't make it.
Dewey, I've taught you everything that I know about taking care of the forest here.
All right, Julio, hit me with the Rotten Tomatoes score and the quotes that you've pulled for us.
71% fresh on the Tomatometer. This is just a plain tomato. There is no stamp that says certified fresh. At some point, they just run out of stamps and they told Trumbull, you know what, maybe next time. Get those critic reviews higher than 35, which is where the amount that we have right now. Popcorn meter, 66%. Still that popcorn tub standing up, but lower, of course, than the Tomatometer. Over 5,000 ratings. So, you know, slim pickings when it comes to the fresh quotes, but we've dealt with worse. We're going to start with the biggest name in this lineup, Roger Ebert from the Chicago Sun-Times, who says, a movie out of the ordinary, especially if you like science fiction. Man, if you don't like science fiction, I don't think that you sit through the entire thing.
Oh, no.
It's not even 90 minutes. It's an hour 29, but it requires you to at least tolerate space adventures. Not even, this is not space adventures, space hangs. It's just Bruce Dern hanging out in outer space. Andrew L. Urban from Urban Cinephile says, visual effects pioneer Douglas Trumbull, notable for his work on 2001 Space Odyssey, Blade Runner, and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, made his directorial debut with this eco-themed sci-fi classic. There you go, Alex. Eco-themed. That's a nicer way of putting it, as opposed to hippie bullshit. Would you call WALL-E eco-themed?
Yeah, but it's also like one of the greatest movies of the last 25 years.
That's why, you know.
So the reason the reason I add that qualifier is just because it's eco-themed doesn't mean it's bad. You know, if you throw the phrase or the label faith-based on a movie, that immediately puts casts a pall on it. You know what I mean? So I don't want to do that with eco-themed. Yeah,
eco-themed is just, it could go either way. It could be WALL-E. It could be Silent Running. It could be, I don't know, some faith-based movie that also happens to be about saving the forests. Next, Film 4 says, there's no critics, just Film 4. Among the most intelligent and entertaining sci-fi films of the 1970s.
Wow.
It said 1970s, it said 1970, but it is 72, so I'm assuming they meant 70s. No, there's no way. The 70s were... Overall, you know, that was I think it's considered a smart decade. And
Star Wars came out in the 70s.
What year is 2001? I don't even like 2001, but
68.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're putting 2001 out of the competition if you're saying 70s, but
correct.
I don't know, man. I think that there's a lot of iconic sci-fi that came out in that decade. You can't tell me Silent Running is like running the show there. It's like at the top of the mountain.
I would agree. Alien came out in the 70s, man.
Yeah.
And the aforementioned Close Encounters came out. Planet of the Apes.
There's a reason why Film 4 doesn't have an actual name there. Like the person didn't want to sign the review.
Was it the original Planet of the Apes? No, the original Planet of the Apes, came out in 1968 as well. But
Okay, what are the sequels?
Well, yeah. Maybe 9 of them came out. Eraserhead, if you count that.
Why not? I think David Lynch is always a little bit sci-fi.
I agree.
Yeah. And then this one, Alex, made me laugh. Dennis Harvey from 48 Hills says, it's a sardonic, eventually grisly fable of a rich, powerful clan whose despoiling of the pristine countryside draws a visitor in disguise delivering vengeance on behalf of Mother Nature herself.
I had to look up sardonic because I was like, wait, doesn't sardonic mean like satirical or sarcastic? And it does. How is this sarcastic?
But also a visitor in disguise delivering vengeance on behalf of Mother Nature herself? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Did you watch the movie, Dennis Harvey? Yeah. And as it turns out, I click on the full review because I'm like, what is this? And Dennis Harvey watched Silent Running as part of a film festival that was about the environment. And he also watched the movie The Feast, directed by Lee Haven Jones. And so that quote is from his blurb about The Feast, but somehow it ended up as a quote for his review of Silent Running. This was 3 years ago. For 3 years, Dennis Harvey has had the wrong quote on his Silent Running review, and he hasn't bothered to correct it, or he just doesn't know what people snicker at him every time that he brings up Silent Running. Come on, man. If I was on Rotten Tomatoes, I would be double checking that shit constantly. Just making sure that it's representing my brand correctly. But that was it, Alex. No more fresh quotes. Now it's just up to us. Let's go to Contrarians Corner.
A space convoy on a strange voyage, carrying a rare cargo. The forests, the plants, the growing things doomed to extinction on Earth.
Taking us back to 1972 here. In the future, all forests on Earth have become extinct from careless environmental exploitation. As many specimens as possible have been preserved in a series of enormous greenhouse-like geodesic domes serving as closed ecological systems attached to a large cargo spaceship formed as part of a fleet of 8 American Airlines space freighters stationed outside the orbit of Saturn. First and foremost, Julio, how much money did American Airlines pay Trumbull and the crew here? This was a Universal film, I believe. So how much do they hawk their way for this just blatant advertising?
There are other brands too, right? It's not just the
Coca-Cola's plastered on the side of all over the ship.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta finance.
It's like Crazy Taxi when you're playing and you're like, wait, why is there a KFC there? Why is there a Tower Records? There's all these places. And then you leave, you're like, Do
you think American Airlines played this movie as part of their in-flight entertainment?
I would fucking hope so. This is a perfect flight movie in that there's just really nothing to invest in. And so you're not going to miss anything if you turn and say, oh, yeah, another screwdriver over here, please. Make it a double.
When you're crying at the end, it's okay.
Yeah, no one judges you there. No.
Yeah. Well, I guess the real question is, do you think other airlines played this movie?
But they pixelate or just like the black bar when the American Airlines logo shows up. Yeah.
It's just airlines, not American.
Our main character here, Freeman Lowell, this is our boy Bruce Dern, is one of 4 crewmen. He's the resident botanist and ecologist on one of these ships, the Valley Forge. He carefully maintains a variety of plants for their eventual return to Earth and the reforestation of the planet. He spends most of the time in the domes, cultivating the crops and attending to animal life. Julio, we're going to circle back to this. Ridley Scott watched this movie and then added a few pops and buzzes to it and then called it Prometheus. Now, we both like Prometheus, so in the end, all it ended up making me do while watching this, I was like, man, I wish I'd be watching Prometheus. But Bruce Dern in the first act of this movie is very laconic and very stoic and a little creepy. And you could believe he is a robot or, not necessarily a human being. And watching him walk around and like very meticulously take care of all these things. This is our introduction to David in Prometheus. This is Michael Fassbender.
Yes. I think that obviously, eventually we realize that Dern is human. He's not a robot because he gets an Oscar clip pretty early on in the movie. But before then, yes, he's just kind of the outcast in this very small community. There's 4 dudes, and one of them is very much not like the others. So yes, if the big twist at the end of the movie was that he was another drone, he was drone number 4, only that they gave him a human body, I would have bought it. I'm like, sure. Is that a failing on the performance, Alex? Do you think that it's Bruce Dern could have done put a little more effort to be more engaging? Because he's not Michael Fassbender. So Michael Fassbender can get away with being robotic and still being very charming and a compelling figure to watch. Bruce Dern, not so much. And I was thinking as I was watching it, I was like, the only reason I am kind of interested is because it's Bruce Dern. So it's such a novelty to see him as a young dude. But if I was just a regular person in 1972 who doesn't know who this guy is, I would just be bored out of my mind. I'm just watching him playing in the forest with the animals and the plants and getting kind of bullied by his coworkers. There's nothing there.
Yeah, and he's also, by this point, he'd been acting for over 10 years, but he still really seems like he's trying to find himself as an actor here. And so, yeah, to your point, a lot of his delivery and the way he approaches the role is kind of all over the place throughout the movie.
I think it's even more distracting today because, kind of like what you said, he sounds like Bruce Dern. So there's times when you catch glimpses of what he would become as an actor. I'm like, hey, there it is. Oh, no, it's gone. This performance, I don't think it's modulated well because I think I'm supposed to like Lowell. I'm supposed to be on his side because politically I agree with his stance, but at the same time I'm watching him interact with his coworkers, and I just keep thinking this is why people hate activists. Like, you need to be nicer. You need to make your point in a much more diplomatic way. But this dude is just all about ranting and telling people that they're idiots. And like, that's you got to use a little bit of honey to bring him over to your side. As he was going on his like ecological rants, Alex, did you find yourself thinking, "Fuck it, just blow it all up"?
This is why Trump won again. Yeah.
Yes.
This is the problem with our side, man. Everyone thinks they're so right. They don't know how to deliver it in a constructive way. Well, he goes from 0 to 60 because, like we said, he has this like robotic like introduction, and then the first scene we see in the fucking break room wherever they are, he's just like he's eating a cantaloupe and cool. They kind of give him guff about it, and then he fucking loses it on him. It's like, fuck you, I'm gonna kill your family. He gives him the Unforgiven speech at the end that any man that shoots at him, he's gonna burn his barn down and kill his wife. You know, that's basically what he tells him here.
Did you feel echoes of because he goes on talking? This is Oscar clip. Like, I don't think that there's anything else in the movie that comes close to this level of emoting and talking about shit. So he's talking about how Earth has become basically it's just so boring because yes, they fixed it, right? But in the process of fixing it, they've taken away what made Earth, like flavorful, imagination, all that stuff. And I was hearing him
wonder.
Yes. But as he was talking about this in detail, about all the things that we had lost because, how the old ways were better, I was thinking, this is what Alex could become if he wasn't such a happy person.
It's true.
It's you ranting about practical effects and film. But he's talking about, he's criticizing the synthetic food, and they're like, "What's so good about your cantaloupe?" He's like, "Because I grew it, I sliced it, and I fixed it.
I took it out of a case and I put it in the player.
Yes.
The quality didn't dip one time." Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, imagination.
I'm just so damn charming, Julio. I can't fall to that level.
Well, that's the thing. Bruce Dern takes it too far. I would like to think, I think that our listeners agree. When you go on rants about the state of the film industry and how it used to be better, you don't get to the Bruce Dern level where you just turn people off. Instead, you kind of, at worst, they might respectfully disagree, and then they go and stream something. But still, this is just the worst case scenario. This is a guy that's just alienating the people that he should be winning over.
And I'm usually not sweating as much as Bruce Dern does in this movie.
And as far as I can tell, you never get teary-eyed. Because that's also a turnoff. When somebody gets so passionate that they start crying, you're like, oh man, can we just go back to playing poker?
Like I said, he's definitely going for it here. He's a young man at this point. He's only 35 or so.
That's what the difference is. That I picked it and I fixed it. And it has a taste and it has some color. And it has a smell. And that it calls back a time when there were flowers all over the earth. And there were valleys.
Let's see. The crew of each ship receives orders to jettison and destroy their domes and return the freighters to commercial service. This, of course, obviously sets off Lowell. After 4 of the 6 Valley Forge domes are jettisoned and destroyed with nuclear charges, Lowell rebels and opts to save his ship's plants and animals. He kills John Wolfe, one of his crewmates, who arrives to plant explosives in his favorite dome, and his right leg is seriously injured in the process. He then jettisons and triggers the destruction of the other remaining dome to trap and kill the remaining 2 crewmen. Julio, one thing we can say is that this movie starts off with like a whoa, because I was not expecting after the hippy dippy speech about, free love and plants for him to murder 3 people.
Yes, when you said that he snaps at the end, I'm like, no, what are you talking about? He snaps at the end of the first act. That's, you can't go back.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. He goes full board at the end. But yes, he definitely, he's killed 3 people, 20 minutes into this movie?
Yes. And one, maybe an accident, like the
heat of passion, he killed John Wolfe or whatever. But the other 2, yeah, he sent them out into the cold, dead air of space and blew them up.
And, Ron Rifkin kind of had it coming because he was such a dick the entire time that he was around Lowell. The other dude was kind of clueless. And then the guy that he kills with his own hands, that was a nice one. The guy that had kind of defended him a couple times. So I get it. I was upset about the plants too. I was more upset about the animals because as they're setting off the bombs, Trumbull, he keeps giving us these close-ups of the little creatures just running around, not knowing that they're about to be blown up.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, one, yes, brownie points for effective manipulation, but I also, because I'm an adult, I hate feeling manipulated. So maybe, pull back on the constant shots of the animals that are about to be vaporized. But also it was annoying because Lowell seemed to be a lot more, anytime he brought it up, he was talking about the plants. And I was like, you could make a more effective case if you talked about the little squirrels and the eagles and all those. I think it's a lot easier for human beings to relate.
Also, not to
that.
be, too carnivoric, but if he had just taken one of those rabbits, killed it, grilled it up, they would have been like, well, hold on. All right.
This tastes a lot better than cantaloupe.
Yeah, they'd be like, all right, he might have a point here. We got to do something.
We got to save the rabbits. Why are they blowing shit up? I don't understand how it seems like such a waste of nuclear, explosives. Why if you just don't want to take care of these things, then just set them off. It's space. Why not just shoot them out like they're doing, but then don't blow them up? And so I think that that's a fair compromise.
Yeah, but what I took it as is this is all an experiment, and when they tell you to cook your samples or destroy, the test tubes that you created all this shit in. I'd be curious who all knows about this, and whoever the president and the time frame this movie is in, if this is some experiment going on that folks don't know about. But that's what I took it as is cook your samples.
Oh, so the president of American Airlines, he wants to destroy the evidence?
Yes, Donald Trump. Yeah.
How many nukes do we have back then, or I guess in this future, that it was just fuck it.
Dude, no shit. These nuclear charges they have, there's over a dozen of them that these 4 just, borderline truckers have access to.
Did you feel bad for Ron Rifkin and the other dude? Because I laughed, and I don't think I was supposed to laugh, but it was just so funny to see them try to go for the door and the door closes on them.
Yeah, and you don't really have enough time to register their terror. So yeah, I don't know if empathy would be the right emotion that I experienced. I was more just holy shit. This movie had such pleasant music to open up with, and now 3 people are dead.
Did you realize at that point that the rest of the movie, the next hour, was just going to be Bruce Dern hanging out with robots?
I didn't. But, what movie have we done before was just a guy alone roaming about on their own?
We always make fun of that Robert Redford Lost at Sea movie.
All Hope is Lost, I think was the name of that movie. Castaway is one. But yeah, from this point, he essentially just becomes Matt Damon in Interstellar. It's the movie we never saw. This is Matt Damon's character.
That's hilarious because the movie you haven't seen is Matt Damon in The Martian, which is literally this.
Yeah, there you go. Okay.
He's Matt Damon no matter what, except that Bruce Dern is still Matt Damon, sadly.
So yeah, here he just becomes like the last man on Earth. He's like Homer in that Treehouse of Horror where everyone dies and he can just do whatever he wants. In this case, he has robots, though. He's not quite to the point of dancing around naked, expressing his individuality. But the drones, Julio, they become now the kind of the character of the movie, the focus. And they are very cute and charming, adorable, what have you. So I knew, of course, one of them is going to perish in a bad way. And that happens pretty quickly. The first one that goes, I believe, is Louis. The third drone.
He dies before he even names him. So he's number 3 when it dies. Do they have feelings? I was really irritated.
They clearly do, because remember when they're outside the ship, like doing recon, and they find the foot of Louis, and they're like, like they're all really sad.
Okay, but it's just one of those things. I have this conversation with my wife constantly because she says that I tend to project on our cats. It's like, no, they're just being cats. They're not having all these super complex thoughts that I might be assigning them. So is it just like the droid saw a foot and they're just like, do we clean this or do we leave it there? And so they call Bruce Dern over. But Bruce Dern comes over and he's like, oh, I know you're sad for your friend. Yes, I'm sorry. This is your friend's foot. Go back to work.
So Bruce Dern's projecting onto them.
And us, the audience, I think that Trumbull, I get it. He's trying to make us think that they have feelings, but I don't know for a fact that they do.
They clearly have physical feelings or physical worry because when Huey, his arm gets all fucked up. In my mind, they made noises, but I don't think they actually do. Like,
but see, isn't that annoying that you don't know for a fact? Like with all their famous droids, you know where you stand. I know that C-3PO has a personality and seems to have feelings. And so there you go. I don't have to worry about it anymore. I can just watch the movie and whenever C-3PO acts in a way that would make me think, oh, he's proud of this or he's scared about this. I'm like, yeah, it was established early on. I don't have to second guess it. Here with these little drones, I'm like, where are they of what's going on? Do they know that this dude just went nuts and killed everybody else? How do they feel about this? Like, if they have feelings about the fact that there's like the foot of their dead comrade is just lying there on the surface of the dome, do they also have feelings about what Bruce Dern has done?
Julio put more thought into this than I did. I just thought they were the highlight of the movie because they were adorable.
I'm sorry, but this movie gives you a lot of time to think about things.
It's true. It's a movie that's an hour and 28 minutes long, but there's a lot of just like silence and meandering.
And that's the best case scenario. When it gets really bad is when there's like the meandering and then John Baez grabs the microphone and starts crooning.
Fields of children running wild in the sun.
Tell me, how do you feel about that soundtrack? That's the movie at its hippiest, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's the kind of what it's called out for. Joan Baez did Silent Running and Rejoice in the Sun. 2 songs issued as a single by Decca, and LP was released in 1972 and later reissued on vinyl. Yeah, that was kind of the one thing I had to do the research on of like, who is that? I couldn't pin the voice to it, but that's tonally a bit of a shift for sure. And I think of all the things in this movie that could potentially transport you to the 70s, I think that does it pretty quick. Not only like Joan Baez, but like the message of the song and also the tonal shift, just to be like, see, free love.
Like Silent Running, I think that it's referencing the lyrics of one of those songs, and it's not even I think I got the actual line there. She says, "Tears of sorrow running deep, running silent in my sleep." So it's not even silent running; it's running silent. But that's the closest I got to maybe making sense of the title. So it's talking about tears running silently down Bruce Dern's cheeks.
I guess, yeah.
He's weeping for humanity, Alex.
Or Earth's inhabitability silently running away from us.
Nothing silent about those nukes. So, well, I guess in space, as we learned from Ridley Scott, nobody can hear you scream, but maybe they also can't hear you cry.
Sick.
I'll tell you that if the end credits had been the Age of Aquarius, like in the 40-Year-Old Virgin,
oh my God,
I wouldn't have blinked. It would have felt of a piece with the rest of the soundtrack.
Tears of sorrow running deep, running silent in my sleep.
Enlisting the aid of the ship's 3 service robots, Lowell stages a fake premature explosion as a ruse and sends the Valley Forge speeding towards Saturn in an attempt to hijack the ship and flee with the last Forest Dome. He then reprograms the drones to perform surgery on his leg and sets the Valley Forge on a risky course through Saturn's rings. Later, as the ship endures through the passage, Drone 3 is lost, but the ship and its remaining dome emerge relatively undamaged on the other side of the rings. Lowell gives the surviving drones names, Dewey, Huey, and the lost drone named Louie, a nod to Disney characters Huey, Dewey, and Louie. The triplet of, those were ducks, I believe.
Yeah, DuckTales.
DuckTales, thank you. So going back just a tick, yes, he's injured, so he has the robots on the ship perform surgery on him, and not long ago, we said that Ridley Scott watched this and flat out stole some of the ideas here. And this is the original C-section scene, Julio. It happens to be surgery on his leg in this case, but, you know, in 2012, when Prometheus came out, we had made some advancements, and also I think audiences were ready for a bit more shock and awe. So yeah, why not? Let's do a cesarean and remove an alien from rooming to pace.
In the Silent Running remake in, I don't know, 5 years, the robots will perform a vasectomy on Lowell. Because, you know, now we're ready for that kind of...
He screams like Dustin Hoffman in Marathon Man, just as like the camera pans away.
Which, by the way, I will accept that I completely fumbled the scheduling, because we should have done Marathon Man and Silent Running on the same month. That would have been our month of running.
Yeah.
Drop the ball there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So did you buy the surgery scene? Because I'm sorry that I keep picking on these little guys, but I didn't feel like they were dexterous enough to where I would trust them with performing surgery on my leg or anything. Like, I think they're good at like holding like a screwdriver and maybe, you know, picking up some stuff. I could even buy them playing poker later in the movie, but surgery is like such a delicate situation that I don't know that I would be comfortable. It's not that I wouldn't be comfortable. I just don't buy that they effectively patch him up and he doesn't, you know. I think that it would make more sense if he loses his leg here, and you know, you just see him.
He like programs him to do surgery, and then it fades to black, and it comes back, and he's like Jeremy Allen White in The Iron Claw, where he gets out of bed and he's just without a foot now.
Yes, yeah. The last thing he sees before he passes out is his wrestling belt.
The NWA title. That's right. I don't know about that as much as I was like, man, I'm trying not to be too mean about this because this movie's 55 years old almost. But man, some of these visual effects, like they're doing like almost a strobe effect to mask how elementary some of this shit is.
Yeah, whenever they need to make a transition, they just cut to Bruce Dern's face. Like, all right.
Yeah, exactly. Sell it with your eyes, Bruce. Your eyes. More. Louder. Returning to your question, Julio, I think it's a fair call out that these drones were, I think, made to, you know, screw in things and go outside the ship and, you know, maybe repair like a line or fix, you know, an air vent. I don't know if they were programmed to perform surgery on the human leg. But Bruce Dern trusts them, and he thinks he's trained him quick enough. He gave him the surgery for dummies software.
It's uploaded it on USB.
They were ready to go.
Did you buy them? I think, you know what I would buy? That they are capable of digging a grave, which...
Oh, dude, that's so brutal when he just instructs one of them. He's like, all right, drag him over there. Now dig a hole 7 feet long, 3 feet wide. And then he tries to like eulogize him and kind of just breaks down. He's like, I'm sorry. He's like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive myself for what I did. And he like hits him with the Forrest Gump. He's like, and that's all I have to say about that.
Yes. The way he cries, you think that they were friends.
Yeah.
That these were his bros. But it was like, no, we watched the beginning of the movie. They kept picking on you. They didn't respect the things you loved. They made fun of your beliefs. I don't think that he would be crying. I mean, if anything, it should be that he's crying because he is horrified at what he did. But that's not how he's selling the performance. So I don't know. Again, Bruce Dern, maybe not quite sure of what he was supposed to be doing here as an actor.
There's so many things for the Lowell character, so many emotions he has to go through while he's trying to present it like kind of a dead inside, emotionless man, which again, okay, Julio, not even again. Julio, what's his plan? What's he going to do?
I am not sure.
Like, is he going to just start his own planet?
So, okay, maybe this might be the final note on the Bruce Dern performance, like the final condemnation. I was not sure if he was really in trouble or not. Like, I couldn't tell exactly what the plan was, because you're right. I guess by the end of the movie, you figured out that he kills the other guys, and then he fakes, his transmissions to American Airlines headquarters. He tells them, oh, there was an explosion and now I just don't know what to do and I'm kind of adrift. And then they tell him, okay, well, we're going to try to meet you on the other side of Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's unlikely. So good job, man. But
best of luck.
Yeah.
And they at one point like intimate he should commit suicide.
Yes. He was like, I don't know that I have the stomach for that. I have the stomach to kill my coworkers, but not to kill myself.
I got to tell you, I just murdered a man in cold blood, 3, in fact, and I don't know how much I liked it. I think that's not for me. I'm going to be honest.
I wouldn't want to do it to myself. It seemed like they didn't like it. So I didn't know if he was like a mastermind, that the entire time that he'd been, since they announced that they were going to blow things up, the entire time he had been kind of thinking, how do I make a play for rescuing at least one of these gardens or these forests? And so his plan was exactly what happens. I kill everybody, I hijack the last dome and I take it with me, but I make them think that I'm going to die. I make them think that my ship is malfunctioning. And so then I just disappear. And I guess technically he could just live there the rest of his life because he grows his own food and
self-sustainable.
Exactly. He has the company of Huey and Dewey. Not Dewey from Scream, different Dewey. So in theory, obviously he's so far gone that probably sounds like a decent option. Mm-hmm. But then as things are happening in the movie, he seemed like he was, at times it felt to me like he was in real, like that he was really concerned about what was happening with the ship. Like every time that he talks to them, I'm like, okay, is he playing it up to trick them? Or is he really concerned? He's like, I don't know what to do. Like, is he really scared of what's going to happen when he goes by Saturn? Or is he pretty chill because he knows that it's all part of the plan? It's supposed to look like it's dangerous, but it's not really going to be dangerous. And I couldn't tell like the entire movie until, we got to the end and I'm like, I guess he was never expecting them to find them again. And because they found them, then, he goes to the only logical conclusion after that.
I just can't do it anymore. You see, things just haven't worked out for me.
So yeah, I kind of blame, that's everybody's to blame there. It's Dern for the performance and Trumbull for the screenplay, because I think that we needed a scene where he sits down with Huey and Dewey and tells them what's going on. I was like, listen, guys, I've given you your freedom, at least partially, so I'm going to let you in on what the plan is. If the phone ever rings and it's American Airlines on the other side, you don't answer.
I'm not here.
Let it go to voicemail. And eventually they'll stop calling.
Lowell, Huey, and Dewey set out into deep space to maintain the forest. I mean, there we go. Lowell reprograms Huey and Dewey to plant trees and play poker. You know, the two. You don't lie, Julio. You were worried for a second. It's like, oh no, is he going to program them to have sex with him?
I would have taken it.
Bruce
Like,
Dern.
please.
Just come on over here, Huey. I can't do a Bruce Dern. You know who does an incredible Bruce Dern? Makes me laugh every time is Jim Carrey. You ever seen Jim Carrey's Bruce Dern?
No.
Okay. He might have been the year he was nominated for Nebraska. Jim Carrey presented an award and just did like and you know, one of my acting heroes is getting a nomination tonight, Bruce Dern, and I cannot do it justice, so we'll have to insert the clip probably right here.
But I'm so excited tonight. I'll tell you why. I'm excited to be here because one of my true heroes, Bruce Dern, is nominated for an Oscar this year, and I'm so excited about that. Bruce Dern nominated for an Oscar. Can't keep a good man down, can you, Bruce? Can you? You look at me when I'm talking to you, son. Kind of tough being on the other side of that, isn't it? It's intense, man.
Now, I thought you were going to say Laura Dern, because something that came up a couple times while I was watching the movie is like the sudden realization or me remembering that he is Laura Dern's dad.
Yes.
Do you think about that often?
I kind of do. I mean, in thinking about I wonder how many times she watched this to get acclimated for space when she did Star Wars.
He went up to him. He's like, "Hey, Dad, do you have time? Let's have some coffee. What is it like to act opposite robots?"
I got the call. I'm going into space.
And Bruce Dern is like, "Well, 50 years ago, we actually had the robots there. I don't know how to act with green screen."
Yeah, exactly. So. I don't know how it's going to work for you kids today, but I actually had to work opposite these drones who, again, much like, you know, R2 and C-3PO, these were played by real people.
Yeah, I saw that. I was wondering if that was something you're going to bring up in real talk or if we're saving it for the post-credits.
Yeah, I think we'll save it more for the post-credits because some more research needs to be done on this. But, I mean, obviously they have very kind of human-like movement, almost like, I mean, in many ways, kind of their reactions, it kind of felt like a dog, you know, because of the way they would kind of look around and stop and hesitate and whatnot. But
yes,
definitely a human movement in there.
Now, it's some dude with dots all over his body in a green leotard.
Yes. Well, here you go. Back in 2024 at the Crown Plaza in Louisville at Wonderfest, Cheryl Sparks did an appearance. Meet Huey drone performer Cheryl Sparks. So still out there cashing checks. Good for you.
There you go. The legacy. Do you think Bruce Dern does conventions?
God. Can you imagine? People come up to him to start quoting his movies to him. All right, get the fuck out of here. Or he does like the fakes, like the fucking Randy the Ram smile. Yeah. And then when they walk away, just go back to deadpan.
Some dude just goes up to him and gives the whole speech of Silent Running, the one where, you know, he's talking about what we've lost as a planet.
What the fuck are you talking about? Is what he tells the guy. He has them bury Wolf in the biodome. Lowell begins speaking to them constantly as if they are children. That is definitely true. Huey is damaged when Lowell accidentally collides with him while driving a buggy recklessly, and Dewey sentimentally refuses to leave Huey's side during the repairs. As time passes, Lowell is horrified when he discovers that his biodome is dying, but is unable to come up with a solution to the problem. When the Berkshire, another space freighter waiting to see if the Valley Forge has survived the trip around Saturn, eventually reestablishes contact, he knows that his crimes will soon be discovered. It is then that he realizes a lack of light, which I don't know how it took him this long to figure this out, but the lack of light.
Yeah, we're not scientists, and I'm pretty sure both of us know that plants will die if the sun is not hitting them at least once a day.
Everything like on Earth will eventually die without enough sunlight.
Yes. He has his eureka moment. He just slaps his forehead. Of course. The sun.
That's the Simpsons monorail. Solar powered. When will people learn? So yes, it takes him this long into the movie to figure that out. He realizes lack of light has restricted plant growth. He races to install lamps to correct the situation. In an effort to save the last forest before the Berkshire arrives, Lowell jettisons the biodome to safety. Dewey on board. He essentially takes Huey by the hand at this point. It's like, you're going to have to come with me. You're just too sick to play. And,
look at the flowers.
yeah. And he shoots the ship off. And then the chilling conclusion of this is he's just talking to fucking Huey, just rambling on about his ecological nonsense up until this point in the movie. And then we see he's preparing the nuclear charges from the beginning. And then he just blows himself up with Huey. And then the final scene, we go to Dewey living it up, man. He's like fucking Josh Baskins getting his apartment. We see that the dome is now well lit and the greenhouse is beginning to grow and flourish again, drifting into deep space. Dewey's watering the plants deeply, tenderly caring for it, holding Lowell's battered old watering can.
He's Wally if Wally had been allowed to finish his mission of cleaning up the planet.
And then, actually, in a nice touch, the drones get the first credit of the closing credits.
I mean, they were the most likable out of all the characters there.
They did hold it together.
So this, again, this is cute, but it also highlighted the problem I had earlier in the movie. It's like, why are they blowing this shit up? Why not just let it, go? But also, if you can effectively train one of these drones to take care of a whole dome, then why not just do that? Yeah. You already have the drones. You already have the domes. And it took him, how long was Bruce Dern adrift, traveling around Saturn? Like a week? 2 weeks? Okay, maybe a month? Because his legs...
He's got... Well, his leg heals and he's got a little bit of a beard going on.
Let's say a month, right? Yeah. In 1 month, he was able to train them in how to take care of this very complex biosystem. So you could just do that. Train the drones, which you already have, put them in the thing, and then just let the things float. You don't have to continue the research. Maybe you can have some volunteers. I'm sure Bruce Dern would do it for free. He's like, just let me live here. Yeah. It just feels so wasteful. And the fact that Bruce Dern never even thought of bringing that as an option, just tell the guys, hey, don't worry about it. We're not going to tell anybody, but we're just going to put one of these drones here. I'll take care of it and then send it off. And that way my work lives on. He made it look so easy.
He should have, because the other two got destroyed and he could just be like, terrible accident, But
Yes.
with Wolf, he could have just eaten them.
I mean, you got to get your protein. It's how you honor him, Alex.
There's a lot of different options he could have first, explored before just blowing himself up.
And blowing himself up with the drone that's hurt. Because even though, okay, he's not tip-top anymore, he would have been able to help his brother or, relative.
They clearly could have taken care of each other.
Yeah, so that's just Bruce Dern being selfish, not wanting to die alone. Which, God, just when you think you can't dislike him anymore, takes an innocent life with him. Awful. And then, when you think it can't get any worse, fucking Joan Baez comes on again.
Back
to sing
again,
you through
baby.
the credits.
And that's it. A long hour and 28 minutes, Julio.
Bruce Dern starts, as Bruce Dern in his 30s, and then by the end of the movie, he looks like Bruce Dern in Nebraska. Like psychologically, along with the audience. That was quite a journey, Alex. Are you ready for real talk?
Let us jettison to real talk, Julio.